So hello, good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. I'm sorry for the delay, but anyway, let's start without wasting any time. So we'll be discussing these 4-5 important articles from today's newspaper. If you go through today's newspaper, you will be finding that there is nothing much to discuss from our point of view, but we will be going for these 3-4 articles which are extremely important for us. Okay, other than that, we'll be going for the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. After that, we'll be talking about the fact of the day, and then we'll be moving to the constitutional amendment. Okay, so we will be talking about all these things in today's session. So let's start with the PLI scheme in slow lane. You know that there was this scheme which was launched by the central government, that is production linked, you can say incentives, sorry, production linked incentives scheme by central government. This was to boost the production in the, you can say, manufacturing sector. So that was the scheme, and right now we are saying that there is a slow pace which has been seen in that particular scheme. So we'll be talking about that. Then fresh US China chip war. When we talk about the semiconductor industry, so there is this new war has started. When we are talking about these trade wars, these are basically dependent on the tariffs. Okay, so recently China has put some kind of tariff on the, you can say, or the ban on the exports. So we will be talking about that. We will see that how it will impact India as well. Okay, then moving further, martial law in South Korea. Recently the president over there has put a martial law in South Korea, but that was actually revoked by the parliament over there. So we will be talking about that situation as well. Other than that, also we will be talking about the location of South Korea, etc. Here, this is the front page. If you talk about this article, that is disengagement over ties with China looking up, says Jaishankar in the, you can say, Lok Sabha. Here, basically, if we are talking about this article, you don't have to worry about this because we have covered it again and again. Because in this article, they are talking about the disengagement which happened on the Demchok and the Depsang areas. Other than that, also they are saying that patrolling has started, and we have to go for the confidence building activities, etc. So these are something very common things which has been discussed. So you don't have to worry about this article much. Then in 3 years, PLI push, phones, pharma, food dominates the new job creation. So we'll be talking about the which sector are actually doing good in the PLI scheme and which sector are performing bad. There was this another article which was given on the economic page. So we'll be taking that article from there because that is more relevant. In this article, more number are given, so we will not go into this. Okay, so let's start our discussion. First, your practice question. Here you can see, where is the International Court of Justice ICJ headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, Hague, or New York, or Vienna? Okay, so basically here you can say the Hague, Netherlands is the answer for you. Okay, when we are talking about the UN, there are various bodies which are there. Okay, mostly if we talk about the important bodies of the United Nations, all of them are situated in New York. But this International Court of Justice, that is headquartered in the Hague in Netherlands. Okay, so remember that. Now we can move further to the next one. Before that, as discussed already, and as you know that Noida is the new UPSC hub where all the classes of Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar has been shifted. Okay, we are coming up with our first, you can say, offline foundation batch over there in Hindi medium on 9th of December 3 p.m. and in English medium Thursday, that is December 12th 6 p.m. Okay, for any more information, you can call on these numbers which are given on your screen, that is 9311406440 or 87501 Okay. Then moving further, in Prayagraj also we are having this batch which is starting on 2nd of January 2025, both in Hindi and English medium at separate times. For Hindi medium, that is 6 p.m. for English medium, that is 5:30 p.m. And if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Other than that, one more initiative is there, that is on our website, that is Sambhav 2025, that has started on you can say 2nd of December. You can explore this particular initiative wherein you will be getting prelims practice test. Okay, in that 10 questions you will be doing daily. Other than that, for mains you will be getting 2 practice questions. Okay, this is an integrated you can say initiative which has been devised by our team, wherein all the questions are basically taken or you can say on the basis of the PYQ analysis. So these will be very relevant for your preparation. Okay, so let's move further and start with the discussion. 4th of December, that is Indian Navy Day, that is today's date, that is 4th of December. Why do we celebrate this Indian Navy Day? Obviously, this is to acknowledge their contribution. Okay, other than that, there was one important incident which has happened on 4th December. Let's see. Navy Day in India rooted in the sorry, not feeling well. Anyway, Navy Day in India is rooted in the events of December 4, 1971. December 4th, 1971 is the day when Indian Navy attacked the Karachi ports. Okay, so you can say when we are talking about the Pakistani facilities, so we have attacked over there because you know that in 1971 that is the time of Indo-Pakistan war because of the Bangladesh issue. Okay, so here you can say when the Indian Navy launched a surprise attack on the Karachi harbour, destroying Pakistani vessels and facilities. This successful operation, known as Operation Trident, okay, was a turning point in the war, demonstrating the strategic importance of naval forces. Now, if we talk about the history of the naval forces, that is Indian Navy's legacy, however, dates back to 1612 with establishment of the East India Company's Marine, which later turned into the powerful force that we see today. Okay, so obviously after 1612, we had this East India Company in India, and they had a very good, you can say, when we are talking about the navy, because they came from far seas. So after that, that particular navy as converted into Indian Navy. Okay, so that is where you can say we are dating back the legacy of this particular navy. If we talk about the naval powers, obviously you must have heard about Cholas, even Marathas has a good navy, etc. So these are something which you can remember. 4th December, that is Indian Navy Day. Okay, now let's move further and start with the fact of the day. Here we are discussing about 4-5 things. You can see here intellectual property. Okay, when you are creating something because of your creation, your own intellect, that is your intellectual property. Okay, there are various types which are there for the protection of the intellectual property, that is copyright. Okay, this is expression of idea. If you have some idea and you are getting it copyrighted, that means that that idea will have a protection from the, or you can say legal protection, and no other can use it. Okay, so time period for that is variable. You can depending on the idea, depending on the, you can say, processes, there will be different time frame for which this copyright can be given. Okay, for that law is there, that is Copyright Act 1957. Coming to the next one, that is patent. If you have gone for any kind of new invention, okay, for inventions we give patents. Invention, new processes or new machines, for such things, or new drugs, etc., we give patents. For that there is the law, Indian Patent Act 1970. It is generally given for the 20 years. Okay, after that, trademarks. If you can see that most of the time you will be seeing businesses are using logos. Okay, so this logo becomes their trademark, because obviously by looking at the logo, people can identify that which company's product is that. Okay, so these are called as trademarks, signed to distinguish business or goods or services. We have trademarks at 1999, and it can last indefinitely, because obviously if there is a business, they have taken a trademark, so it will be there with them. Okay, moving further, trade secrets, confidential business informations, etc., they are protected without any registration, and there is the unlimited time. Let's say there is this particular you can say recipe, or let's say there is this particular kind of cookies which are made by a particular company. So obviously that is their trade secret, and that is protected anyway. Okay, so that is one thing. Geographical indication, you must have heard about this. This becomes important for your examinations as well. Sign used on a specific geographical origin and possesses qualities due to the site of origin. Okay, if something is originating from a particular area. Okay, so let's say if you are talking about a particular Banarasi pan, if you can say. So when we are talking about Banarasi pan, you know that it is from Banaras. Okay, and it is famous, and if it is getting a GI tag, that means that it is getting a protection, and it is because of its origin. Okay, so that is your geographical indication. Okay, geographical indications of goods, that is RNP Act 1999. This act is there, and this is renewable, and the time period is 10 years, and then you can renew it again and again. Industrial designs, ornaments, or the aesthetic aspect of an article, Design Act 2000, and 10 years it is given for the protection is given for the 10 years. Now you don't have to worry about much of these things. Just know that for every of these aspects we have particular laws which are there. And what is the difference between copyright and patent, trademark and trade secret, geographical indication and industrial design? So you can just know that there are different kind of intellectual properties, and we have discussed some of them: copyright, patent, trademark, trade secrets, geographical indications, and industrial design. Now 97th Amendment Act, okay, 2011, gave constitutional status and protection to the cooperative societies. Okay, recently this particular push has been given to the cooperative societies. Okay, in 2011 they have been given a constitutional status. Here it made following three changes in the constitution. It made the right to form cooperative societies as a fundamental right under article 19. Okay, under article 19 we have this right to form associations, etc. So under which also they have given this right, that is right to form cooperative organizations. Now you know that cooperative societies, now you know that it is a fundamental right. Moving further, it includes a new directive principle of state policy on the promotion of cooperative societies, and then it has added a new part, that is part 9b in the constitution, which is entitled the cooperative society. So basically when we are talking about the part 9, we have panchayats, part 9a we have municipalities, and then part 9b we have cooperative societies. Okay, now let's move further and start with our discussion of the day, that is your why PLI, some PLI schemes are in the slow lane, what government is doing about it. Okay, so let's see. Cumulative job target, that was 16.2 lakhs. In 3 years, PLI push, phones, pharma, food dominates the new job creation. Phones, pharma and the food. When we are talking about the India's pharmaceutical industry, you know that we are going for the exports. When we talk about the phones, recently we have also gone for the manufacturing and exports. Okay, and then when we are talking about the overall view over here, you can see if the employment generation is used as a matrix, 6 of the 14 14 PLI schemes including textiles, solar modules, IT hardware, automobiles, advanced chemicals, chemical cell, and especially steel are relatively slow in lane. Okay, so basically they are saying that in these areas, like that is your textile, solar modules, IT hardwares, automobiles, advanced chemical cells, and the especially the steel, for them we have seen a slow pace where you can see the progress has been seen. So these are the areas. Phones, pharma and the food. Others including food processing, mobile phone manufacturing appear to be well on the track to meet the target set at the time the scheme was actually announced. Okay, so basically they are saying that other 6 sectors are basically not doing very well. These are the 3 sectors which are doing good and others are more moderate. Okay, so here you can see when we talk about the production linked incentives or the PLI scheme, it aims to boost the domestic manufacturing. Okay, we are becoming a manufacturing hub, or we are aspiring to become a manufacturing hub, and we want to go for the exports. For that we have come up with the production linked subsidy or the initiative scheme, that is aims to boost the domestic manufacturing across 14 key sectors including textiles, semiconductors and the mobile phone. However, some schemes are lagging due to the challenge in the implementation. Okay, here you can see some employment data has been given. Okay, best performance sector, that is mobile phone. Mobile phone has seen a good performance and they have created 61.3% of the job has been created in the mobile phone sector, that is 1,22,613. Okay, then you have pharmaceuticals and the food processing. Now these are the 3 areas which are best performing. Okay, so they are creating jobs, that is very good. Moving to the next one, yet to make a mark, that is textile, solar and the auto and auto components. Now these are the one which we expected that they will do good, but they are yet to make the mark. Okay, now what are the challenges, why this particular scheme is not working? So first thing is dependency on the imports. When we talk about the raw material, when we talk about the higher machinery, or the, you can say when we are talking about the technology transfers, etc., we are dependent on the other countries. Okay, so dependency, the bottleneck from the reliance on the foreign components, that is your you can say manufacturing machines or the technology, etc. For that we are dependent on other states. When we are talking about the pharmaceutical sector, which is doing good, but for APIs, okay, for APIs in the pharmaceutical, you can say that these are the raw materials for the pharmaceutical, and we are still, you can say, dependent on China for APIs. Okay, now if China someday decides not to give these API to India, then our pharmaceutical sector will be in trouble. Okay, moving further, initial hurdles for the industry is starting production in the new sectors where no prior ecosystem exists, that is like semiconductors. If you are starting a new sector and there is no infrastructure which is there, that means that you have to put some money for the infrastructure as well. Now if you have created the infrastructure, that will take 1 or 2, 3 years to give some kind of results. So initial hurdles can be there, initial hurdles for the industry. Now employment generation, now slow job creation due to the sectoral progress in the sectors like advanced chemical cells, especially steels and the textiles. These sectors require long term investment and the capacity building. If you want to see the result in these sectors, you have to invest a lot first of all. Second thing is you have to wait for a while, because after investment it will take it. These are the sectors which perform in a slow pace. Okay, so that these are the challenges you can see. One is dependency on the imports. Second thing is initial hurdles for the new industries in which we do not have any kind of infrastructure. And third is the employment generation or the slow job creation in the sectoral performances. Now, future focus areas. What are the areas where India or the government should focus? Increased financial outlays for the critical sectors to ensure sustainable growth. Sectors like textile, steel, etc. For these are basically your critical or the crucial sectors. For them, you have to go for the increased financial outlays because these sectors require long-term investments, okay, and the capacity building. For that, you can do the financial outlets. And second is the addressing competitive advantage to make India industrial industries globally viable. So basically, they are talking about the competitive advantages. Competitive advantage means that there are certain sectors in which India is good and there are certain sectors India is not. So where we are good, we have to perform better in these sectors. Where we are not up to mark, then we have to work on that as well. Okay, so we have to go for the areas which are having competitive edge. Let's say when we are talking about the India's milk production, India is the largest producer and the exporter of the milk. Okay, so we have to make sure that we go for the food processing etc. in that particular area as well. We can capitalize on the, you can say, milk production, like we can go for the sorry, we can go for the, you can say, milk powder production or the associate products which are there. Okay, so we have to diversify our market, so that can be done in the in these particular schemes and the areas. Okay, now moving further, government intervention if we are talking about. So revisiting the scheme, government is trying to review the scheme. The government is reviewing the PLI framework to optimize the spending and the enhance outcomes. Support for the industries, focused efforts for the mobilizing investments first. Optimum use of the investment that should be done. So for that, focus should be on the mobilizing of investments. Then promoting employment intensive manufacturing. Employment intensive manufacturing, these are the sector where you can go for the job creation, wherein you will be seeing that more and more job can be created, that is textile or the food processing etc. Okay, supply chain development. Now we are dependent on other countries, so we have to make sure that there is no supply chain disruptions. We can be part of the supply chain as well. Okay, so encouraging global players to invest and establish a supply chain in India to reduce the dependency on the imports. Let's say when we are talking about the APIs, we are dependent on China. Now, what if we are to start production of these APIs in our own domestic territory? That means that we will not be dependent on other country. The second thing is that we can supply it to other countries as well. Okay, so that means that we will be part of the global supply chain. For that, you need investment. So you can go for the, you can say, asking for the investment from the foreign, you can say, companies etc., or you can go for the collaborations as well. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Now we can move further to the next one, that is South Korea president declares martial law, parliament gate is lifted hours later. Okay, so here you can say South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol declared martial law late Tuesday, vowing to eliminate anti-state forces. He struggled against an opposition that controls the country's parliament, that he accused of sympathizing with the communist North Korea. So president has accused that in the parliament there is this opposition and they are sympathizing with the North Korea, and considering that, to oppose them, he has actually gone for the martial law. But the thing is, parliament over there is powerful. Parliament over there is having this dominance of opposition parties, and they have actually revoked it. Okay, now what is the political significance of this particular you can say event? You can say that the you can say authoritarian you can say regime or authoritarian trends are getting higher in the South Korea. Okay, so here you can see in this article, South Korean president declares martial law, revoked by the parliament. South Korea's president Yoon Suk Yeol declared martial law on December 3rd, 2024, citing the need to combat the anti-state forces allegedly sympathetic to the North Korea. Okay, so this is just an allegation, we are not sure about it, but because of this particular reason, he has gone for the imposing the martial law. Now, what is the immediate reaction over here? So opposition, which is dominant in parliament, they have actually criticized it and they have revoked it. The opposition controlled parliament overturned the declaration within hours. The National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-shik calling it unconstitutional. Police and military were instructed to withdraw from the National Assembly's premises. Okay, so immediately they have revoked it after few hours. Implication: the president's move marks a significant shift towards the authoritarian measures not seen since 1980s. Okay, so we'll be talking about that as well. Under South Korean law, martial law can only be imposed if parliament actually approves it. In India also, if national emergency etc. are been approved, then parliament has are basically took into place, then parliament has to approve it. Okay. Now the opposition termed the declaration illegal and the unconstitutional, though so they have revoked it. Now here you can see, first move since 1979. Use move is the first declaration of the martial law since country's democratization in 1987. South Korea's last previous martial law was in October 1979. Okay, so please remember this particular date. The South Korean Act on the martial law states that if the assembly demands to end it, the president must lift it without denying and without any delay. Yoon is seen in the South Korea as the deeply unpopular and the divisive leader. Okay, so basically they are saying that last time it happened in 1979. After that, South Korea became a democracy in 1987. Okay, and right now when we are talking about the current president over there, that is Mr. Yoon, that is considered as deeply unpopular and divisive. Okay, so this is about this article. Here, what is the political fallout? The decision faced widespread criticism, including from the opposition, and USA has also been closely monitoring it, and they have also criticized that this will threaten the democratic values. Now USA, you know that why we are talking about USA over here, because South Korea is an ally of USA. Okay, so when we are talking about the North Korea has a tilt towards Russia. So South Korea definitely is with USA, because in the Cold War, you know that there was this Korean War etc. Korean Peninsula was divided, and the North Korea was under the influence of USSR, and South Korea was under the help of the USA. Okay, and that division is still there. When we are talking about the geographically, there is this 38 parallel, which is the line which is dividing the North Korea and South Korea. But other than that, ideologically also this peninsula has been divided. Okay. Now historical context, this is the first martial law declared since South Korea's democratization, that is 1987. We have talked about that. Now if you are talking about South Korea, here you can see the location. This is China, this is Russia, and here you know that this extension is there, that is basically this peninsula over here, that is your Korean peninsula. Okay, now here in this particular picture you will be able to see is better. This is the Korean peninsula, whole Korean peninsula. Okay, now that has been divided. There is this demilitarized zone which is there, okay, between the North Korea and South Korea, and here one line which is passing through this, that is your 38th parallel. Okay, here you can see this line, this is your 38th parallel. This is the geographical division. Obviously there are different some portions are there. This is not the exact demarcation, but we can say that the peninsula has been divided into north and south by this line, that is 38-degree parallel. Okay, so that is about South Korea. This is the one which is in south is South Korea, the one which is above, that is your North Korea. Okay, so that is about your this particular issue. And if you are talking about the capitals, so North Korea's capital is Pyongyang, and when we talk about the South Korea's capital, that is Seoul. Okay, now let's move further to the next article, that is basically fresh US-China chip war connecting economies like India and Vietnam make gain. So basically what is happening is that China has said that they will be going for export ban on USA. They will be they will not be sending some of the critical elements which are used in the chip manufacturing. Okay, so because of which there are high chances that USA will look for the other market, and Vietnam and India is seen as the other options or alternative. And if we do not grab this opportunity, we will be in the loss, because there is another country which is already ready to provide it, that is Vietnam. Okay, so let's see. Fresh US-China chip war, India and Vietnam may benefit. China has banned the export of key minerals, that is gallium, germanium, antimony, used in the chip making and military application to USA, escalating the ongoing US-China trade tensions. Okay, so basically last time when Mr. Trump came, we have seen that there was this trade war which started between USA and China, and now this time also when he is supposed to come into the office in few days, so China has gone for this particular export ban. So there are high chances that there will be retaliatory action from the USA as well. Now impact on the global trade, so supply chain will shift, because till now China has been providing this. So the ban could disrupt the global supply chain for semiconductors and the high-tech industries. Countries like India Vietnam and Mexico may gain as an alternative supplier due to their potential to attract the investment. Okay, so these can be the alternative options for the countries like USA. Then economical rebalancing. This trade restrictions reflect the broader geopolitical competition between USA and China, with connecting economies like India becoming a strategic player. Okay, so if China is not giving some such you can say semi raw material for the chip making, so there are high chances that they will be looking for other countries, and India, Vietnam and Mexico are in the option. Now if we talk about India's position, India is growing India is a growing semiconductor industry. You know that we have a national semiconductor mission as well. We are trying to focus on the manufacturing over here. India is growing semiconductor industry, and the recent initiatives like the partnership with the US based Micron and Taiwan's Foxconn positions it to benefit from the shift in the supply chain. Shift in the supply chain means that obviously earlier USA was buying it from China. Now the chain will be shifting to other countries like Mexico, okay, and Vietnam and India. Okay, so India is working to reduce its dependency on imports by establishing local production facilities. Now moving further, historical context, if we talk about the current US-China tech war mirrors the Cold War era economic battles, when in the Cold War, you know, this battle was between USA and USSR. Right now the global, you can say, when we are talking about the picture, wherein when we are talking about the power, you can say dynamics of the you can say around the world, so we can say that particular thing has changed. Earlier it was the war was between USA and USSR or Russia. Now it is between USA and China. China is becoming a dominant player at the global table. Okay, so that is on the lines of that. Now Trump hints at steel imports tariff impact on India's exports. Now Trump is saying that there are high chances that they will be going for the steel import tariffs. Okay, why? Because they want to promote the local ones. Okay, now that will impact India's exports, because India is exporting to USA, and if there are tariffs, that means that export will decline. So ultimately it will harm India's interest. Okay, so let's see. The former US President Donald Trump has proposed reintroducing tariffs on steel imports, which could directly affect India's steel sector, because we are the exporters to USA. India, a major exporter to finished steel products, may face challenges if the proposed 25% tariff is implemented in the early 2024. So what is the key takeaways? So from the all this discussion, be it USA China trade war or be it India and USA's issues with respect to tariff, the coming time will be uncertain, because when we are talking about the new president in USA, that is Mr. Donald Trump, so he comes with this particular uncertainty. So we have to make sure that we take wise decision during this time. Okay, so that is about your India, China, India, USA and USA China. Okay. Now Nepal China signs 9 agreements. So recently there was this visit under which Nepal PM has met the Chinese counterpart, and they have signed nearly 9 agreements, but none of them has mentioned Belt and Road Initiative. Now that is a good thing for India, but that is not because of India or the relationship with India, that is because of the local or the domestic politics over there. Right now there is a coalition government in Nepal, and both of them are having different views on the relations with China, and considering that there was no mention of this BRI Belt and Road Initiative in these agreements. Okay, so that is about India, Nepal and China. Now for your own read, there is this article, ICJ begins hearing on climate change case. Why this is significant? Yesterday we have talked about this particular case, that the island nations has gone to the International Court of Justice, that is based in Hague, Netherlands, and they have actually asking, or they are saying that the accountability should be made for the developed countries or those countries which are polluting the environment. And concern is that because the island nations are at the grave threat of the climate change, because they are the countries which are most vulnerable with respect to the climate change. Because if you see the global warming, so the sea level you can say may be rising, and island nations will be submerging first. Okay, so regarding that they have gone to the ICJ, and you can go through this, because yet you can say any decision has not been there. They are just talking about what are the concerns, etc., which we have already discussed. So you can go through this article. Now in the end we have this question for you, that is Indian Navy Day or India Navy Day is celebrated on 4th December, 26th January, 24th November or 26th November. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you and please subscribe the channel.